Number 9 is to plan for surpluses and contingencies. It is not a huge task to put together a budget. It's a very huge task to follow a budget. But putting together a budget is something that it's very easy to do, right? Like before you have to exhibit the behavior, just categorizing what you spend is not that difficult. It may be surprising when you figure out how much you spend on food, how much you spend on entertainment, but it's information that can be found. And when you establish that budget, hopefully there's some level of surplus. If there's not, hopefully we've given you some tools over the years to identify what to do to free up some cash. But if there's a level of surplus, you can create a plan for that. We just talked about how to automate the, transfer from checking to a high yield savings, for example. What most people fail to do is to plan for surpluses that you didn't expect. That could be a bonus. That could be an extra check for whatever reason. If you're in my industry, maybe you've done a public speaking gig or whatever the case may be. A surplus is something where you don't typically add that in to your monthly expenses or have a discussion about what you would do in those scenarios. So we encourage people, say, hey, on a monthly basis, you're going to transfer $500 a month from here to there. But if you get an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, how are you going to handle that? Could it be that you put, 45% of it towards one thing, 45% towards another, and you blow the other 10% to congratulate yourself or have a little break from budgeting? Whatever the case may be, have a plan for your surpluses just like you do for your typical monthly expenses so that when money comes in, you're not confused at how to use it. When it comes to surpluses that we see, the most regular use of it is shopping and travel. And the problem with that is not that you're using it on shopping and travel. I'm all for having some reward for yourself. But when you don't have a plan for the reward, you actually end up spending, in most cases, more than the surplus. So you get that extra $500 and then you book a $2,000 vacation. You get that extra $300. And then when you consider taxes and shipping, you spend $400 on whatever it is. So in actuality, you dipped into the monthly reserves to pay for the thing that you expected to do with the surplus. Instead, before the money even hits your account, have an idea for if extra money comes, here's what we're going to do with it. And the same is true for emergency expenses. You're not always up. Sometimes you have some tough expenses, and I encourage you to have a plan for what you're going to do in terms of how you deploy the hopeful reserves that you have when needed. And then lastly, we'll finish up with this. Put one thing that you've been putting off on the calendar. Just one. There doesn't have to be 10 different things that you address all at once. You could be in a position where you know that you need to switch tax preparers or find a tax preparer, but you haven't found the time to do so. Maybe you're a person who knows, when I was talking about contingent beneficiaries, that you do not have a will, an estate plan, and advanced medical directives or powers of attorney, and you know that you need to do that, but you haven't done it. Maybe you're in a position where you need to go secure that insurance, or you need to establish that account or cancel that bill, but it requires more than just going online. It requires a conversation or a meeting or a process. But I just want you to pick one of those areas, find the professional with whom you want to work, and put the meeting on the calendar. It's not because the other areas, steps 2, 3, and 4 are not necessary. This is all about momentum. If you start seeing progress with your finances, just like when you start seeing progress with your weight, just like when you start seeing progress with your knowledge base, it will grease the wheels, it will keep the motion going, and encourage you to do other things. I am learning so much now that we're in the phase with our son of working with him on homework. Not that we just didn't work with him on anything before, but when we were teaching him how to read, when we were trying to potty train him, when we were trying to teach him how to ride a bike, our son is the type of person where if he doesn't see any progress, he has no motivation to keep going, right? He wants to quit immediately if he's not good immediately. But once he sees that progress, he is gone. We worked with him to try to ride a bike for a year, and he hated it. He would cry. He would run back in the house. He would try to hide his bike helmet. But the second we found somebody else to teach him, And that person got him putting his feet on the pedals and coasting. Even before he could ride, just coasting and not falling, he was riding his bike that same day. And now he won't do anything but tell everyone how he can ride a bike. The same is true with your finances. If you get one thing done and you do a hard thing, you will show yourself that you can do hard things and go do another hard thing. And that's how I would encourage you to start the process. This is, I hope, been as enjoyable for you as it has been for me. I love talking about financial progress and what you can do to improve your finances.